Today I'm going to talk to you about a few of the factors you should consider when a client asks you to work on a project. When you start getting your first clients, that's really exciting. You'll be super keen to work with just about anyone, but just because you've been asked to do a job doesn't mean you should dive in head first without considering it carefully. Chances are, when you're starting out, you'll get more than your fair share of bad clients. And these are clients that maybe can't afford to work with more established or more experienced illustrators, so they go for new artists. Now that's fair enough, if they can only afford a new artist. But there's a certain percentage of those clients that won't be able to work with more established artists for other reasons too, like not respecting their time, or paying late, or having unfair terms in their contracts. Things that experienced illustrators wouldn't stand for, so they go for new artists thinking they can probably get away with it because you won't object. Now if you're desperate for work and you need the money and you don't have any other options, no one's going to blame you for taking on the odd job that maybe doesn't have the best terms. You've got to pay your rent at the end of the day, but make sure you're not going in blind. Make sure you know what you're signing up for. Don't let it be a surprise. Apart from potential bad clients, there are other more practical factors that you have to consider too. If you know you can't physically do a job due to a lack of skills or lack of time, then don't accept it anyway and mess it up, because you're wasting the client's time and you're also wasting your own time. So here's a few things you might consider before you say yes to a project. If you've got any questions or things to add to the list, then add them in the comments below. The schedule. Is there enough time? Can you keep to the client's deadline? If it's too quick, it might be tempting to go for it anyway and hope for the best. But unless you're confident in your ability to turn something around in a weekend, let's say, don't do it. A rushed job is no benefit to you and no benefit to the client. I've worked with a few illustrators over the years that overcommit and then have to let clients down in one way or another. Then the client is left struggling to find a replacement last minute. Don't be scared to ask for a bit more time on a project, but you should do that at the start of the project, not on deadline day. It takes a while to learn how long certain kinds of jobs will take you to complete. So when you're just starting out, give yourself plenty of time just to be safe. Money. Does the price match the amount of work you'll have to put in? A 3-week job for £500 probably isn't going to cut it, especially if it means you won't have time to work on anything else. If you agree to a project where you feel like the price is too low and then it's anything more than a straightforward process, you're going to be kicking yourself with every bit of feedback you get from the client. You've got to be happy with the price, otherwise you'll end up resenting the project and you won't put your best effort in. Rights. This is a big subject, often overlooked by new illustrators and experienced illustrators. I'll link to a couple of reference posts in the description, but too often now standard contracts from clients will take ownership of your work away from you. Meaning the client can, in theory, use your images for whatever they want, whenever they want, or even sell them on to a third party. If they want that assignment of all your rights, they should pay you a lot of money for it. The AOI has good guidelines on this, and I've talked about it more in depth in other videos too, but a magazine shouldn't need full ownership of your images. There's no reason for them to need complete ownership of your intellectual property. A 90-day exclusive rights contract is fair for a magazine. Don't be afraid to ask for that if the terms in the contract you receive aren't good. Now, if you want to work for Google or some of the other big megacorp clients, then you probably will have to assign your copyright at some point. But in theory, they'll be paying you fairly for the assignment of rights. If a magazine is unwilling to negotiate on those rights, then you shouldn't work for them, because there's no good reason why they need ownership of your images. They're trying to take advantage of you. You have to ask yourself more generally if you are willing to give away copyright to your work. Some artists will absolutely not do it, and some don't care at all. Just make sure you think about it carefully, and if you do decide to do it, that you're being paid fairly for it. Are you interested in the job? If you're not, you might not produce your best work. You can't realistically expect to be interested in every job you work on, but if you find yourself faced with the most boring brief you've ever seen, it might not be a good fit for you. You might get a week into the project and really regret taking it on. Is the client a good client or a bad client? You can't know that most of the time until you start working with them. But consider some of the factors. Good clients pay well, or they pay fairly. Good clients pay on time. Good clients look good on your client list. Being associated with them makes you look good. Good clients respect your work and your time Good clients negotiate. They are fair. If you can't negotiate good terms for yourself with a client or a fair price, if the client is unwilling to negotiate, then you might have a bad client. A lot of your clients, maybe even most of them, will be pretty unremarkable and average. You won't really care about putting their name on your client list. The pay will be okay. That's fine though, you need those clients. But you really need to go out of your way to keep the good clients happy so they come back for more. But you also need to be able to spot the bad clients before it's too late and shut them down. It doesn't matter how great the project sounds or how high the fee is, if they never pay you, it is irrelevant. You learn to spot the red flags of a bad client with a bit of experience, and unfortunately sometimes it means trial and error. If you get the slightest sense that you might have trouble being paid from a client, for example, their email address is a personal email address or not from a business email address, or they don't have a website, or they don't have any online presence, or maybe you just get a vibe from the way they communicate that they are not professionals, it is worth asking for 50% up front. Then you can limit your risk. Better to be paid 50% than nothing at all if the client disappears halfway through the project. If they're not willing to consider that, and there are other warning signs too, you've probably got yourself a bad client, so shut it down. It just isn't worth the hassle. If you're going to turn a project down, be nice about it. Even if you think the project is terrible and the idea sucks and the price is insultingly low, be polite. You can always use the old "I'm too busy at the moment" excuse. Thank them and move on, knowing that you are supremely professional. And the reason I say that is because art directors move around a lot. So one day they might come back to you from an awesome client with an amazing project and a massive budget. Assuming the client isn't terrible and you actually have time to do the project, consider the 3 Ps. I've mentioned this before, but ideally any job you take on will have at least 2 of these 3 Ps. Pleasure. Will you enjoy doing it? Price. Is it well paid or even just paid fairly? Promotion. What will you get from the job apart from money? If you're getting a good price for a job and you're going to enjoy working on it, then it doesn't matter if no one will ever see it. If you'll enjoy working on a project and you get some great promotion opportunities from it, then the price doesn't matter so much. And if you get great promotional opportunities from a project and you're going to be paid really well, it's probably worth doing even if you won't enjoy it that much. I hope this helps. It is good practice to start thinking about these kinds of things and not just accepting anything that comes your way blindly. But actually, I do think a new artist should take a few risks and try lots of different things, even if you're not 100% sure about them. You never know what project will lead to your big break. Make sure you're actually going to get paid by the client and you're not being taken advantage of. Other than that, go for it. You can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs. The more mistakes you make early on in your career, the quicker you'll learn. So don't be too scared of taking risks. It's part of the process. A couple more videos here. Hope this helps. See you next time. Oh yeah, I got a new chair this week. It is superb. Ooh.